Hello and welcome to another edition of Athletes Corner. And today we got a special guest. We got Miss Bella here from St. Mary's. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much.
All right, it's been quite the last couple of weeks for you, right? With the attention you're getting. But first, how's your summer going?
It's been great playing basketball, a little bit of soccer too. Just being with friends. It's a lot of off time, but it's time to work. So
Yeah, definitely. The AU sessions all over. What was that season like? The AU sessions this year was like for you?
I think it was really good, successful. Obviously, I think it was a little bit stressful at times because I was on the road for about 2 weeks at a time, and it was just getting a lot for me. My body was hurting a little bit, but those last few weeks I was just pushing through, just putting on the best show I can put on, and just playing how I can usually play.
Yeah, was it more so just trying to find that downtime because those AAU schedules is so you're playing a lot of games and like when you're in a certain place for like a short time, like 2 days, you might play 10 games or something like that.
Yeah.
How were you able to just find time to let your body heal?
So the first tournament we had that was like on that 2 week period was in Ohio. I think we were there for 4 days. And then there's a 3 day period in between where I found time to just have some downtime, and then we were in Kentucky. So those few days I was at the pool. I wasn't really in the sun a lot because I didn't want to get like burned or anything for my body hurt even more. But I was taking time for myself, stretching, obviously, doing stuff like that. So
Yeah. Obviously, you got a lot of good feedback from coaches during these sessions, but what was it like just having some of these college coaches just talk to you and your parents and just just discussing like how they seeing you develop and how you were doing in those sessions?
I think that it's like really interesting here from different schools. They have different stuff to offer, especially like different schools like down here. It's different from like say U Miami and BC. Like more city, U Miami, trees, hotter. Down BC, it's still a great school, but
Right.
it's a little bit colder. I think the campuses are pretty like same,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
size wise, but they have different stuff to offer. So it's interesting, like researching each campus, seeing what I like and seeing what I don't like.
Is that just like a good feeling to have, just to know that they're having these discussions with you right now, and just so you can see what to expect as you're getting older and stuff, but just getting that exposure a little bit now, so as you go sophomore, junior, senior season, it won't be kind of like a shock to you, like all these coaches want to talk to you.
Yeah, I think that I definitely had a blessed recruiting experience from a young age. Not everybody gets the opportunity to do so. So I think just for me, if I was having a recruiting process where it was getting a little bit later in the season, I was at my junior, senior year, and I wasn't getting any looks or anything, I think I'd be a little bit scared. And I think that's a lot for, like, it's the same for a lot of people like my age.
Yeah.
Like, they get that looks because of the program they play for, especially like MCW puts you out there. They have connections. But if you're playing for a program like, say, like a lower program like NSSA, they're not going to have those connections. So
Yeah.
I think just I was talking to somebody about this earlier, like the other day. Like, I think basketball's all about connections. If you have connections, you're going to get where you want to be. And if you don't, then you can still where you get when you want to be, but you got to put yourself out there by yourself.
You just got to do a little more of the extra
Yeah.
stuff to get yourself the exposure.
Yeah.
And your experience is kind of different from a lot of players because since 7th grade, you've been playing varsity basketball and you've kind of been on the scene since middle school. I mean, just being that young and just getting those type of experiences and just seeing it at an early age, what confidence did that do for you in your game and as you built?
Again, I think I was blessed to play with the players I played with at a young age. I was playing with Yersi, Kellen, and I, which Kellen's at Monmouth right now, Yersi's at Northeastern, and I's at Bentley. Like, great programs for basketball. I think they show me a lot. Again, with like just being young and being a player that's blessed, I think that you go through a lot of like rough patches or that was a rough patch for me during those times because I wasn't gaining confidence because I really wasn't having the ball in my hands most of the time.
Right.
But when they left, I took on a role my freshman year, which is this year behind us, and I think I gained a lot of confidence from that. I was relied on way more, and my confidence grew from there.
Yeah, because that's also just another big jump because you're going from a role player to now the star player, right? So like you got, as you said, you have the 3 leaders in front of you, but that kind of like that was a good thing too, because now you kind of understand like what's asked of those in leaderships in a program like St. Mary's. So those 2 state championships, those back-to-back years, although you didn't start, you got a lot of opportunities off the bench. And how were you able to seize those opportunities coming off the bench? Knowing you kind of like the first person they'd call off the bench, and you're only 7th or 8th grade, so
Yeah.
Was there any nerves in that, or was that just like maybe at first there was nerves, or the nerves go away once you touch the basketball on the court?
I think at first it was a little bit of nerves. One of the assistant coaches, called me over and said, "Bella, my 7th grade year, Bella, you're like getting better. You're good enough to start or like even come off the bench for a game." And I was like, "What?" Mm-hmm. Like I was so young. I think I was like 12 or 13 at the time. I was like, "Me?" Like, because there's a lot of older players behind me, so I thought they were going to get those minutes. But I think, like, what was your question again with the
the confidence that you got from those.
Oh, yeah. So I think I was a little bit stressful to begin with. Like, I was so young. I was playing against 18-year-olds when I was, like, 12 years old. So it was a little bit much. But it's just made me grow, and I'm blessed for the experience.
Yeah. How were those other players that weren't starters that were coming off the bench with you, the older players? How did they kind of help you come along in that aspect? Because I mean, not everybody could have like the demeanor or could just put their pride aside and let somebody else just get those opportunities that they probably normally would get. But how were they able just to embrace that and kind of help you go along and also just help themselves too in those roles?
I think that a lot of them were very welcoming to the team to begin with. They liked me. They knew I was young. I was a little bit scared to start with. But they realized my potential and, like, what I was doing. I wasn't a selfish player to begin with, so I wasn't, like bragging in their face, like, "Oh, I'm, like, taking your minutes," or anything like that. Like, I was very, like, subtle. I didn't really talk a lot to them, like, about it. And it was just, it's basketball at the end of the day. So if they're mad at me, then you can be mad at me. But, like, it's not my decision. I'm not taking your minutes. It's the coaches doing that.
And then, because that 7th grade year, the year before, they had lost in the state finals, correct?
Yes.
Right. What was that like? When you coming in now, the expectations are so high. You see, they came so close, and yeah. I could only imagine how competitive those practices were because they knew that they knew it was right in their grasp, but they didn't quite accomplish that goal. And coming into that season, they knew they wanted to get back to that and get that.
So I think that the year before that they did win, and the year my 8th grade year they lost.
Okay.
So when my freshman year, it was like that was the year that we need to step it up. Mm-hmm. But even with like stepping it up, like knowing the expectations, like we had a lot of young players, so like they came in knowing like, oh, I got to turn up, like I have to like match the energy that is given, because they know the expectations, they've seen it, they put it in front of them. A lot of them went to the games, so they saw like what our like practices were, and like when they shadowed at our school, like they would come to practice. So the intensity of practice is always like high. Like we always are loud, we're always yelling and stuff. Not at each other, but just like in general, like we're talking. But I think that since we had like such a good like practice team, like the starting 5 had a competition against the practice team. Like it weren't just like randoms that were just coming in, giving us a bad look, and it wasn't game-like, but it was really game-like. And I think that's why we were so successful that year.
Yeah. And in this freshman season for you, like as you said, you had the older players that they graduated. Now the team's young. You went from a very veteran, experienced team to now, there's some upperclassmen, but they're all also in new roles. So everybody's in new roles, starting roles, a lot of responsibilities. How's the team able just to everybody accepting those roles and just coming together to accomplish that, because everybody wasn't a starter last year, and now they're all thrown into the starting lineups, and you got to figure it out, got to build the teams and get those confidence going as the season goes on.
Yeah, I think that in the beginning it was a little bit rough. A lot of us were like just not ready for it, like ready for the I would say like the expectations. Because let's say, for example, like some of my teammates were like on the practice team last year and they weren't getting a lot of minutes. They would get like 3-4 minutes a game, and now they're playing starting. So it's a big jump for them. I think they definitely like completed their role as the season went on, and even in the beginning a lot. But I think that just as the season goes by, like I think we're all just helping each other. Like, we're not, like, going at each other, like, getting mad if we make mistakes. Like, it's all a learning experience, and we're all young, so we're just trying to learn the game together.
Yeah, a couple of your teammates, AJ, the leadership with her shooting, and then Jillian, they had some moments coming in the clutch in the season. Jillian in that game against Oliver Ames made that game-winning basket in a wild game. But what did you see from them that got them really going and got them more acclimated with the offense, understanding like the concepts of the offense and defense for the team?
So our defense is a trap defense. I think when we started seeing success and we started seeing progress with it, like at first it was a little bit hard to learn, but like as it went on, we started seeing success and that gave them motivation to keep going. As well as the offense, like it was a little bit new. We run the Princeton offense, which is 4-out win-in. So just finding those gaps to score, I think like when they found consistent, like they know they can do this. Oh, I can drive every time, or I can shoot the 3-ball. Like it gave them confidence to keep going and doing what they can do.
Yeah. For you now, you're getting different looks defensively from opposing teams. Like teams might go boxing one, teams might focus on just trapping you all the time. How are you able to adjust your offensive game in that and get the other players involved? Because I'm sure it probably was frustrating a little bit when you first saw it happening, but did you get more comfortable in welcoming those like double teams and whatever defensive strategies the opponents were using to try to stop your offense?
So I think the game was Hanover when I was getting face guarded. It was a little bit frustrating for me. I think I scored like 1 point off of a free throw, but I think just the coach probably put me at the point, I really can't remember. And I brought the ball up, and I was just getting where I need to be. I knew if I drove in the paint, like, I was going to get double teamed, so I would just find that extra player. I wasn't, like, trying to do too much and, like, do all these one-on-one moves, ISO. Like, I knew it wasn't going to work that well because they studied just my game. And I'm glad to have teammates that, like, can score the ball if I pass them it out. And, like, we pull the game through, so that was the most important part.
Yeah. Is that just the aspect of your game that you always had, but it just now you had to do a little bit more of that now because you didn't have to do that before? But was that just the aspect of your game that maybe folks didn't know you had, or maybe you didn't even know you had that kind of came around this past season?
Yeah, I think that since when I was with those 3 girls, I didn't have to do much. But when I had to take on this role, it's different for me. I knew that they probably thought, oh, she's the best player. Like, we just have to take her down, and the rest of the team is, like, fine. They're not going to score. But, like, I don't know. I think it's a mindset. I don't really think it's an aspect of my game, in my opinion. I think it's a mindset. Like, some people will get frustrated, shambled. They'd probably cry if they were getting face guarded and not scoring a lot. But, like, I think I kept pretty good composure, and I wasn't getting frustrated with the game. And, like, that's what they want to do. They want to get you they want to get in your head. They want to melt you down. And, like, I think I pulled through pretty well, and my teammates did the same.
And with all that said, it was still a very successful season for the team. As Coach said, he didn't play a lot of young players, but still made a deep state tournament run once again. You guys are playing deep into March every single year. First, what toll does that take on you and your teammates, and just how appreciative are you for you to have that opportunity to continually make deep state tournament runs while some teams end early? You and the ladies, y'all are going state finals, state semifinals, and continue on playing.
I think that as well as like our practice, like the coaches are really good with like making sure we know. So like we do a lot of film, and like when we watch film, we have like huddle, so like they can see what we watch. And I think it's the most important part that we're watching film together and sometimes on our own to see our mistakes and see those flaws, and so we can fix them in practice. Like I said, our practices are really intense. The coaches always want to do its best. And if they see something's not working, they'll adjust it. Like we had to go, like we still did Princeton offense in the tournament, but it was a little bit different. So we made that adjustment, and I think that's why we were so successful.
Yeah. The game against Foxborough, a tough one. I mean, granted that a veteran team that had won it the previous season. You know what happened in that game that that they just were able to get you guys that day?
I think just our shots weren't falling, to be honest. And then when we saw our shots weren't falling, we just fell apart as a team. We weren't together. Especially for me, I think, me personally, I didn't do a best job of being a good teammate that game. Like, I was still high-fiving, doing the little stuff, but, like, I wasn't, like, hyping them up, like, okay, next shot. But I think I could have done more that game, and I think everybody could have done more that game.
Was it one of those cases, because this happens in basketball a lot, when it's kind of like, your offense is starting to affect your defense because you know these are shots everyone normally makes that they get, and it's just not falling, and the frustration kicks in, and that affects the defense or just the defensive intensity.
Yeah, I think that since our shots weren't falling, our like trap was like falling apart. Some people were doing it, some people weren't, and really, I think, in my opinion, and coaches say it all the time in practice, like your defense like can affect the whole game. Like if you're playing good defense, like your shots are gonna eventually fall because you're getting fast breaks, you're getting steals, you're getting all this stuff. So I think just we fell apart in the game, and next year we just need to come stronger and just not fall apart and be all on the same page.
And there's always a lesson. There's always a lesson in each loss. What's kind of the takeaways that the coaches had in that game? You know, when everyone did this season like wrap up meetings and all that. What was kind of the takeaways or some things they said that they were proud of the team for doing that season?
I'm gonna start with the negatives. They were talking about how we just need to be better at being good teammates to each other and giving energy because the bench was dead. We weren't doing defensive chants. We weren't yelling in one. We weren't doing any of that. And I think that's why we kind of fell apart as well because we're usually doing that. We're usually hyping our own gym, and sometimes like it happens. But positives, I think for the whole season, or you're just talking about Foxborough?
Both.
Okay, so the full season, I think they're saying we did a great job of adjusting to the trap because it's a difficult trap, and that's our defense. It's a difficult trap. You're going to have to learn it, and if you don't learn it, you're probably not going to play because that's what we do the whole game.
Yeah.
So they said we did a great job on that. Also learning the offense because the offense takes a while as well. Like, it's new, it's a little bit difficult, but once you get it, it's like, yeah, it's good. For Foxborough, I think what they were saying is like our spacing was pretty good, I think, but we just weren't hitting shots, to be honest.
Yeah. Going to the off season, now you're gonna come into the season. The expectations are gonna be high again, just because of the deep run that the team had, and only lost a couple seniors, but a solid like 85% of the team is returning. So how impactful is that just to have all the familiar faces, majority of the familiar faces back, and they won't be like the coaches won't have like that turnover and like teaching the concepts and all that.
Yeah, I think since we only have we're gonna have a lot of new returners. Like you said, we only really lost AJ and one of our other seniors, Lindsay, but she wasn't playing. She had tore ACL. But I think this season I gained trust with a lot of girls. Like Charlie was new. Lily, I've always played with Lily and stuff, so like I've always had trust. But like I think just coming in, like I know I can trust these girls that are probably gonna play most of the minutes. So it's a little bit like, wow, like I can really like do that. And like when they're scoring and stuff, like it's like, oh yeah, like that's my teammate. Like it's not like, oh, she's like new, like it's
right.
Yeah.
And now you're getting these letters from these colleges. Obviously, if folks read the item, they've seen some of the schools that offered you. I mean, how exciting is that? Receiving these scholarships, knowing that you won't have to pay for college, that aspect, but also you're going to have an opportunity to play in college, which is a dream for a lot of folks. How's that going? Especially the school's about to start too, so I'm pretty sure it's exciting times for you.
Yeah, I'm obviously blessed to have even one. Like not everybody has this opportunity to even get even one like scholarship, and the fact that I have 13 is just amazing. I think it's really like amazing to see that because I've always like wanted to play basketball since I was little, and like just like seeing that progress and seeing like, oh, like she's really doing that now. Like it just makes me proud in my heart. And also like I don't know, I just think that like people saw something in me that I didn't really see at a young age, and like just looking back, like I thank them because like it really opened like my whole like wide range of just basketball. Like I didn't think I could do this when I was younger. So
yeah, definitely. And I know there's a rule you can't go on your official visits yet until like after sophomore.
Yeah, after sophomore year.
Yeah. But also you got you got the siblings right behind you too.
Yeah.
I see you all in the gym working out together, shooting together. But it's exciting. Your sister's on the team playing with your sister. Little brother's going into middle school and all that. But just like how exciting times is it for everyone because everybody's actually, trying to live out the dream and,
Yeah.
and being involved in some type of, athletics.
Yeah, I think since I have siblings, like they kind of look up to me, and going to the gym with them just fun. Like I get to teach them. They kind of look up to me in the fact of like in the sense of sports and stuff. I like playing with my sister, obviously. Like it's so fun. We got closer as the season went on, just because we were together every single day, and she doesn't really play basketball like that. So like now that she was on the same team as me, like it was just great to like have that. And also my brother's gonna be at St. Mary's next year,
Right.
this year, so it's gonna be good to have him around. Get to show him around the school, just show what opportunities he has.
Yeah, and the soccer season is slowly approaching. You got soccer right now.
Yeah.
So far, how's the practices been? I know, you're doing this to keep yourself in shape, but also just keep yourself occupied in the time being before basketball comes around.
The practices are really intense. Like we've been doing a lot of running, conditioning. We have a new coach this year, so he's really focusing on like core work, because last year we were getting bumped off the ball and stuff like that. So I mean, it's really fun to play soccer. I mean, it's just awesome opportunities. Like my dad played when he's younger, as well as my mom. So it's just like fun, and I get to play with my sister as well.
Yeah.
So.
Also, talk about that, because there's a lot of people that just, it used to be a thing where people play multiple sports during the school year. Now some folks do it, some folks don't. But you talk about the importance of just playing multiple sports, even if you're just doing one because you want to do it and stay in shape and stuff like that, but just the importance of just playing multiple sports while you're in high school.
I think just the opportunities, like you get to meet new people, not just with the same people every year. Also, like to go with your body, you're using different parts of your body. Like basketball is a lot of hands and feet, but like soccer's like mostly like core and feet.
Right.
So like I'm not really using my hands at all, which like is like all right. And like I'm still practicing basketball and all that, but like it's gonna get my legs stronger for basketball.
Right.
So.
And I also think that soccer helps with on defense in basketball.
Yeah.
That footwork you need to have in soccer, I think that translates well over in basketball. So kids, play multiple sports if you can. Do it
for
more.
Sure.
Definitely. Thank you for dropping by.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate it. I know you're busy. Actually, you said you had 13 schools offering you. Can you tell the audience what are some of those schools that you got letters from?
Recently, it's been University of Louisville, Miami, Providence, Providence College, Harvard, Boston College, Stonehill, Monmouth, Manhattan College, UPenn. I don't know what else. University of Rhode Island. 3 more. Northeastern.
That's all they get. That's all they get. It's a lot of good schools.
Yeah.
We're wishing you the best. And ladies and gentlemen, she's only gonna be a sophomore, so y'all gonna hear more of her. Make sure to check out the article that is written on her in the item. So if you haven't read it yet, make sure you go out and read it and all that. Plug in your social medias before we get out of here. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. If you have all those, that's your camera right there.
My Instagram is bella.wumi, OWUMI. Same with my Twitter, but add the number 24. And then I think that's pretty much it.
All right. All right. All right. Well, thank you again for coming by. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Athletes Corner. We out of here.
Yeah.